Frame, the platform I created based on being an entrepreneur and business you are interested in based on a matter of importance to you. So, let's talk about this a bit. So I joined BT Old Street many years ago in London, 2004 to 2005, around about that time. So it started out in Old Street. Then the project was moving to Brentwood. I didn't think I was going to be able to do it, but I managed to relocate to Brentwood, and then Rachel joined the team. And we were both contracting in BT and often working late hours. Remember those hours we used to do? And I think we did it for the credibility because we eventually wanted to get some kind of permanent position. We thought our contract would eventually end up with a permanent role. But a few things happened, and I just thought, from when this happened, I think even from before this happened actually, I'm going to bring this person in a moment because this person's amazing. A few things happened. One, we were told that the contract was going to end soon. And I don't know which one came first, but you ended up buying a flat in Brentwood. And Brentwood is prestigious. Because I remember those days, I can't remember, there was a show on TV, a TV show in that area. You'll probably have to remind me of this yourself. But we found that out, and then we created this thing called 5 a Day. So 20 years later, basically, I end up, because I knew this person was going to be really, really successful. I used to keep on saying, you're going to do really well in life. I can just see you're going to do really well in life. And I remember, Rachel, you didn't believe me. Rachel did not believe me, but I could just tell, I don't know what it was, I could just tell the way you spoke, the way you wrote, the way you explained things, the way you came in and learned the process so quickly, because I've been doing the process from when time, and anyway, you learned it really, really quick. Anyway, so when I make contact with you and I see that you've got your own business in the form of a shop, I think I have to speak to this woman, and I'm so pleased to be speaking to an amazing person, Rachel. How are you today? How are you feeling? Over to you.
Hi Val, I'm well, thank you. I'm really, really well. And also, thank you so much for your kind and lovely words. That's so nice. What a great introduction. Yeah, I'm pretty good today. I'm not too bad. It's been one of those really hectic weeks, but today feels a little bit lighter. So yeah, I'm pretty good. And how are you?
Yeah, amazing. Absolutely amazing. Especially speaking with you sort of properly after all of this time. I mean, admittedly, you know, I have spoken with you beforehand to see if you would agree to this madness I'm doing right now of speaking to people that I knew they were going to make something of themselves and then ended up with their own organisation. So are you saying that today's a day that you're working and it's quite busy?
Yeah, it is busy. So today we've got like a lot of events going on. I've got an incessant amount of admin, never-ending admin is always the way. But yeah, we've got like about 4 events going on today. So there's quite a lot happening. But yeah, it's so nice to connect with you after 20 years. I can't even believe that 20 years have kind of gone past. And so much has happened in that 20 years, both of us, I know.
And unlike me, Rachel initially showed her video, which I will show you right now. It's a long story. And Rachel looks the same age 20 years later. I promise you folks, I'm not lying. She looks exactly the same age. It's unbelievable.
So let me tell you, I'm sure that's just really bad lighting and poor camera quality. Like, I do not. I look so happy. It's ridiculous. I've aged endlessly over the last 2 years doing this job.
When you told me you were 40, I thought, no, I'm just not going to accept that in no way, shape or form. I was wondering, do you remember what we meant by have you done your 5 a day?
Okay, so when you mentioned that, actually, I don't know, but I don't remember it, but I've got a really good idea because it's of what that is. That's probably, I would imagine, reaching out to people and trying to potentially find. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. Tell me what you remember it to be, because I can't remember, but I know what I'm like, and I probably would have been putting in like little targets and things for us to do.
Okay, so basically, I mean, the fruits of the 5 a day benefited you first. You know, I was stuck with it in triumph later on. But the 5 a day was this. It was a case of we knew we had to get out of there because we knew the contract wasn't going anywhere. We were going to eventually lose our jobs, and then we said, you know what? Let's go on. I think it was total jobs, or the something of the time, Monster or whatever it was at the time, and then he said we have to apply for 5 jobs a day minimum.
Yeah, that sounds like something we'd agree to. Yeah.
And then you just hit it. You were just on it like nobody's business. And then you ended up with an amazing job. You only had 1 interview and you got the job. So you did 5 a day every day. I did it, but I didn't get anywhere straight away. And you ended up in, I can't remember the company now.
Ernst Young.
Oh,
yeah, I went to Ernst Young then. Yeah, I do remember that.
So, what do you remember about that? Did you enjoy it?
God, yeah. So it's a really interesting question. I did enjoy my time at Ernst Young actually, but I had, after I was 20, I think I'd already been working for 3 years in corporate jobs, including that BT one, and then after that, I went to Ernst Young, and I'd already worked for accounting firms, so I kind of knew what to expect. But I went there, and then I sort of bounced around quite a lot, actually, after EY, because I was only there for a couple of years. And then I went over to Australia, and by that point, I was working for law firms. And I went over to Australia, I was there for a few years, and then moved over to Singapore for a few years. And then I came back to London just as COVID hit. So the last 20 years have been a bit, I don't know where, and it sounds so ridiculous because when I was in my 20s, and people would say this and I'd roll my eyes at them, but I genuinely don't know where 20 years has gone. It literally has just shot by so quickly. In the last 2 years especially, doing what I do now, and I'm sure I'll talk about that in a minute, but
we'll get to that.
It's so, time just goes, and it goes so quickly, and I really wish that I'd appreciated more of the time that, when I was in my 20s and 30s, appreciated more how time actually is quite a lot slower.
That's why. It's a cliche almost. You hear people say it all the time. You're young, you're older. Oh, time flies. Make the most of your life when you're young. All the time you hear this kind of stuff. And then when it happens to you, you think, oh my goodness, it's so true. Because I keep on saying the 20 years, and I'm sure people are going to be annoyed when I keep on going on about it. But it just doesn't feel like 20 years. It can't be 20 years. I still feel like I'm dreaming.
Absolutely. Apart from family, I don't think I know many people in my really close circle of friends. I don't really know many people that I'm not really in touch with many people that I was in touch with 20 years ago. Life just moves on, and life just changes so much, doesn't it? And that's what I found, and especially from a career perspective. I remember when I was, when we were working together, we were kind of on a project basis, and then after that, I sort of went back into kind of client account management, and then when I ended my kind of corporate career about 18 months ago, I was again I was still in that sort of client account kind of role, and just managing kind of a team of people around the world to look after different the top of our top client accounts.
Right, bit by bit. So basically, at BT, we were working on quite a large project, and I suppose it wasn't exactly where we wanted to be as such. And all I remember it was ATM installations. So we were working not too bad, quite prestigious organisations. We were working with Royal Bank of Scotland, and we were working for BT themselves, but on behalf of Royal Bank of Scotland and was it Nationwide? No, NatWest. NatWest. And we were doing ATM installations, and the prestigious ones we did was Hampton Court Flower Show.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting ATMs there. Literally ATM machines where you sort of it's like a temporary installation where you get your money. And the Royal Bank of Scotland ones, I think it was 2 different type of things, but they used to use killer screens or something. And then with the NatWest ones, they used to have a circuit or something and a line at each end, and we just have to organise the engineer. Do you remember any bits and pieces about that? Because I'm just trying to get back to where you started and how from there you boarded, you ricocheted, you know what I mean, from what we were doing there to what you're doing now. Do you remember what you did?
I mean, they couldn't be more different in terms of roles, but I do remember, because we would sit down and we talked to the engineers and things, and we'd organise the entire process from cradle to grave. It really was project management, and these were huge projects. People don't realise how much goes into getting an ATM at events like Glastonbury, at any kind of event that is there for a short period of time, like what engineers have to do, the tech that goes into it. I mean, don't get me wrong, obviously this was 20 years ago, so now it's probably super easy with the advancements of technology.
Totally.
It's probably completely easy, but back then it was a project and a half. One thing I do remember was actually sending an engineer to, and thankfully we had the nicest group of engineers. I will say this for BT, like the people who worked for BT were just lovely, like just such lovely people. And I once sent an engineer to Troon instead of Dunoon, right? And this is in Scotland. And he'd taken, I think he was from down here or the Midlands or something, but he'd gone to the wrong place. I'd sent him to the wrong place.
I remember this.
Oh God, it was awful. It was probably one of the biggest screw ups I've made in my career. And I said to him, I was like, so can you see the bank? And he was just like, it's not at the address that you've given me. Like, I'm really confused about this address. And I was like, okay. I don't know, I can't remember the ins and outs of it. But then I realised, and I was like, oh my God, I've just sent him to entirely the wrong place. And I went and had to speak to the manager because we needed then to kind of house him up there so that he could then go to the right place the following day. And of course, we've scheduled in all their other jobs as well for different ATMs, on the way back down. And it was just such a palaver. Yeah. And Graham, our manager, bless him, he was brilliant. He was great fun.
Yeah, he was lovely.
He sort of laughed it off, but just went, I just can't believe you've done this. Like, what an absolute mess. And I was like, no, I'm so sorry. And but he kind of found the funny side of it, thank goodness. But yeah, and that's one of the things I really remember was just making this, and it doesn't sound that big a screw up, it really was.
But it gave me sleepless nights because it all had to be in by a certain time. It was so precise because these sort of shows like Hampton Court Flower Show, and I can't remember, Marco Polo, all these different really sort of high profile places.
Yeah.
It only lasts a certain amount of time, and an ATM machine has to be there beyond a shadow of a doubt. And I think there's even some kind of financial implications if we went wrong.
You're right. We were looking after, from a client account perspective. I mean, I know we were also doing the nuts and bolts of it as well, in terms of getting people, into the getting ATMs into the actual wherever it is that they needed to be at the time. Yeah. But we were also managing the client too, and managing their expectations. Yes. So we would be speaking to the client all day, every day. And as you said, we had a really prestigious client. We were working with, the RBS group, which, as you say, that's NatWest, and it was Ulster Bank as well at the time.
Yes, they came in on board as well, didn't they? I think we were doing really well. And then we end up being advised, oh, by the way, you could look after Ulster Bank on top of it. Kind of thing. Yeah. Just the two of us. But then, admittedly, there were some people in, I think they were called NMC, I can't remember what the acronym means. A guy called, oh my goodness, there was a guy, I think his name was Mark. And there was another guy, Marcus.
Yeah.
And then we were meant to see them one time, and we thought, oh my God, they're quite nice. I know, probably should be talking about this, but they were just so, really nice over the phone in general, just really, really, really helpful.